Before we get this video started, guys, big shout out to Runkle. Just got another package in the mail, and we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing video really quick before we get this video kicked off. So I'm going to go ahead and get this box opened up and show you guys what's inside of it. Alright guys, let's get this cracked open. I wasn't even expecting this box, guys. They've already sent me quite a bit of stuff. Actually, I don't even need a knife, just rip it open. They've sent me several reels, as I mentioned in my last video, that we will be working with Runkle. So let's get this cracked open. Let's see what we got. Spin up my decal a little bit there. Got a Runkle, big decal. We'll throw that on the trailer. Dump it out. Boom. Guess that's it. Big Runkle decal, guys. Go on the trailer. Boom. There's another one. Put it on the other side of the trailer. Yes, sir. A couple other smaller Runkle decals. Got us a hat. Runkle hat, guys. Got us a hoodie. I will wear that. Dude, I'll wear that today. Runkle hoodie. Boom. And then we got us a certificate from Runkle. Certificate of Achievement. May it be known that this certificate is presented to Josh Sharp for being a sponsored angler of 2021 Runkle team. Boom. That's freaking awesome, guys. That is cool right there. All right, that's it though, guys. Like I said, I'll leave Runkle's website and stuff linked down below. Head over and check these guys out. Check out their website. They sell a lot of stuff on Amazon as well. All right, guys, we're going to jump right into this video. This is something different that I just thought about. I was like, you know what? When I first started kayak fishing, Eric Romines over at TN Bassin, and we'll get to some more of him later with this hog trough. You can see his logo on this thing. He had mentioned to me about fishing these online tournaments through TinCat, and that's how I got into the whole kayak scene, or kayak tournaments. And I remember having tons of questions and messaging him and asking him a bunch of questions. So I'm gonna try to cover some of the basics that you will need to get into kayak tournaments, and you know, just some of the simple stuff. I know a lot of you guys are already kayak tournament anglers, you know, fish on the national level, stuff like that. I just want to touch on some of the basics for the new guys that are just getting into kayaks and that are just getting into the kayak tournament. So I'm gonna show y'all like 3 or 4 of the, you know, the main things that you'll need for the kayak tournaments, and some of the things that I recommend that you should have, and a little bit of the ways that will benefit you when you're in the tournaments and stuff like that. So your first step is to get on your Google Play, or if you got an iPhone, and download TourneyX. That's where you will submit all of your fish from the tournaments into TourneyX. A lot of these trails, that's what they use is TourneyX. And like I said, go to your Play Store. I'll post a screenshot really quick of what TourneyX looks like. But that's what you want to download when you catch these fish. It's catch and release. You'll take pictures on your hog trough or your catch board. You'll submit those fish through TourneyX. That's how the tournaments run, is catch and release, and it will all be submitted into that app, TourneyX. After that, you want to make sure that your location is turned on your camera or just on your phone. You want to make sure your location is turned on all those. That way when you submit those fish, the tournament directors, the people judging the fish, can tell exactly where you're at when you're catching these fish and submitting them. So, you know, first step, download TourneyX, and then you want to make sure your location's turned on. So when you do fish your first tournament, you can submit all those fish, and it'll show your exact location where you caught those fish at. All right, guys, let's talk about 3 things that you have to have in order to sign up and fish the kayak tournaments. You have to have a PFD on at all times, guys. When you're on your kayak, you have to have a PFD. Even if you're not fishing tournaments, guys, I recommend wearing a PFD at all times. Just be safe out there, guys, especially if you're fishing, you know, a lot by yourself. Always wear your PFD. You've got to have a flag and 360 light, guys. If you're putting in before daylight, you've got to have the light. You know, if you're getting out there in the, you know, in the afternoons, or you get out there late, you know, you can run just a flag, but that is something you have to have on your kayak at all times. And you've got to have a measuring board, guys, whether it's the catch board or hog trough, or the new catch board that they just got, the plastic one, that's much sturdier than the hog trough. You have to have these 3 things in order to start kayak fishing. So when I very first got into kayak fishing, my very first time out on the water, it was an online tournament, month-long tournament. Eric Romines over at TN Bassin hooked me up with a hog trough, and you know, obviously at that point he had probably already upgraded to the catch board, but you know, me just getting into it, I decided to go ahead and grab this hog trough from him, and the very first day, guys, out on the water, I broke it. And that's the problem that a lot of guys run into these things, is you break them. And then there's been a lot of controversy here lately too as well, of guys, you know, putting these things down and bending them and adding an inch or so to these boards. You can, you know, these things got a lot of flex. I mean, this is something that you can use. You have to have a sticker on the bump of your board at all times. Same as here on the KETCH board. You have to have a sticker on that. And then on these hog troughs, you got to take a Sharpie. You got to mark every one of these lines. This is something, like I said, this is all you need. These things are around 20 bucks. That's all you need to get started in the kayak tournaments. That's what Bubba just fished his first tournament with. And I tried to talk him into getting a KETCH board at Frontier Outdoors, and he didn't do it. The very first tournament, guys, he broke the bump right here. It broke completely off. Very first tournament. And I told him he'd be upgrading eventually. So already he's going to buy a KETCH board. And this right here is what I use. I use a KETCH board. And then you're gonna need something to put your identifier on. This is just a little tourney tag. You can make one. You can lay that identifier in, you know, in a piece of like a Ziploc baggie or something. As long as you can see it in the picture. A lot of guys will place their hand on the fish, and I've done it many a times. I'll write that identifier on the top of my hand when I place that fish on the board. You always want to make sure that fish is bumped completely up against the board with the mouth completely closed, and your hand goes flat down on that fish for that picture, you know. And you know, I always slide this tourney tag where you can see, you know, about an inch between there. That way they can, the tournament judges can see everything, and you can place your hand right on that picture just like this. So those are your three things that you have to have. You got to have a PFD, you got to have your 360 flag and your pole with your light and stuff for safety, and then you've got to have a measuring device. I recommend the KETCH boards, and then your flag will go on the back of your kayak. That way it is visible when you're out on the water in the dark, or when you're coming down the lake where there's boats and stuff running. You always want to have that flag right there on the back of your kayak. Now to the things that I recommend. Always keep Sharpies in your kayak, whether it's under your seat. I always keep mine in here in my dry box put up. That way I've always got Sharpies just in case I lose my identifier, or I need to write it on my hand, or it starts to fade off. You gotta have a Sharpie. And another thing that I highly recommend is having a phone leash, guys. I have dropped my phone in the water before. Ever since then, I have used a phone leash. And then if you drop that phone, you've got your life jacket on, you drop your phone when you're taking a picture, you ain't got to worry about your phone flying in the water. I've seen it happen many a time. So that's something that I recommend new guys. Go ahead and get you a phone leash. That way you don't have to worry about losing that phone. And I always keep mine in my pocket. Something else, and I've went over this before in some of my older videos, but while we're on the subject and we're going over these type of things, I want to go ahead and show some of you guys again. When I net a fish, guys, I will place my net right here on the edge of my kayak, just like that. When I measure the fish, that thing is right there beside me on my lap. And if those fish jump off, they'll land in the net. But when I very first catch a fish, I will take that fish, I will stick it on these fish grips, and I will place this fish in the net and let that fish relax, calm down while I'm getting organized, while I'm pulling out my phone, while I'm getting my camera pulled up, while I'm getting my board from the side of my kayak, putting it in the floor. While I'm doing all that, that fish is in this net, just relaxing, and then I can get it out, place it on the board, and take the picture. So last little rundown, guys. You gotta have a measuring board, you gotta have a PFD, you gotta have a 360 light and a flag. That's the three things you have to have. And download the app, TourneyX. You know, that'll get you started. I recommend, like any guys around here in Tennessee, signing up for some of the monthly online tournaments. You can fish when you want. You got all month long. They usually run a month long. You can fish whenever you want, however long you want, and fish any body of water you want. Usually they're, you know, like 10 cat, stuff like that. It's statewide, so you can fish any body of water as long as you're using a public ramp, or, you know, like a boat ramp or a public accessible, you know, area that you can put your kayak in. And you can fish any of those, and you can start out by fishing the onlines, or you can fish some of the, you know, the meetup trails, 10 cat, any TKA, some of the bigger trails like TN, B.A.S.SNATION, stuff like that. And then coming up this summer, the NETKA, or the East Tennessee Kayak Anglers, ETKA, they will start their Thursday night tournaments out on Fort Loudon. So any local guys that want to, you know, get into the kayak scene, that are, you know, kayaking, because I know a lot of people got into it this year. You can come out there on Thursday evenings. I think it starts around like 6 o'clock, and you can start fishing those weeknights. So anyways, hopefully that helps some of you new guys. I know, like I said, a lot of you guys already know this stuff, but there are people that are new getting into kayaks that, you know, I remember asking these type of questions. One last thing, if you do get one of these KETCH boards, always have a tether like this on that. That way if you drop this thing, it does not float. You want to make sure that you don't lose it. This thing will sink to the bottom quick, so always have that thing on a tether on your kayak, and that's how I have mine set up. And I put it over here just like this. Keep that right there. Boom. So that's it, guys. That's your basic steps. Hopefully, like I said, that helps some of you new guys. So that'll get you into the kayak tournaments, guys. It's rather simple. I mean, I just remember going over this with Bubba yesterday, or Saturday. It was his first tournament, Friday and Saturday. And he was having to get the board and mark all the lines and get everything set up on his kayak, get the flag. And it made me think I need to do a video on this to help some of these guys out that are just getting into it. So yeah, hopefully that helped you guys. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.